Hello, Austin here. I know I'm a couple days late on this, whether I get the extra credit points for it or not. Oh well, I still want to say what I'm going to say. Uh, my back is feeling much better, thankfully. I can actually move and look side to side, uh, returning to work tomorrow. As far as my reflection of the course and what I learned, um, I came into this course thinking, oh, I've read The Body Keeps the Score. I've read other, clinical studies and academic peer-reviewed articles about trauma. I thought like, what more could this course really teach me? And that was an ignorant way to think because I actually almost immediately started learning a lot, interestingly enough, about myself and my own history, my own childhood. Somehow I didn't make this realization when I was reading The Body Keeps the Score, but this course made me realize I experienced a lot of chronic toxic stress as a child and did not have parents that were emotionally supportive, um, not out of neglect, but because they couldn't be, just various reasons growing up in poverty, generational poverty at that on both sides. Uh, so I really appreciate how this course allowed me to be introspective with my own history. Um, One thing I wanted to mention is I love how you, Professor, did work specifically on people in later stages of life. I asked myself, why don't I think of people in those stages of life to be like, I don't usually question trauma. I kind of think that it's like if it's there, it's already happened, and now we're dealing with the impacts and effects of it. Also, I think we there's a lot of focus on children and young people because their future is to be molded by whether or not they experience trauma. And with older people, we kind of just have this mentality of like, well, it's already done. There's like, what more? Their life has already been lived. So how much of a future could be impacted? Which I think is an awful way to think about it, but in a crude way to put it, that's how we see it as a society collectively. Um, Something that I taped to my phone and I look at regularly is the diagram about the left side of the brain and the right side of the brain and what they're responsible for. I had a general sense of that's how that worked, especially because the guy Phineas, the like famous historical figure who got a rod through his head, um, taught the world that the left side and right side communicate, but they're also separate. I look at that diagram often. It's saved on my phone now. I really appreciated the video about the relationship between trauma and addiction or substance use. As someone who's in recovery from drug addiction myself, I really appreciated that. There was at least one video on there, both as part of our learning materials. Um, Speaking of, I think that it's interesting that SAMHSA was the resource that we use consistently. It seemed as though they had a really thorough and comprehensive uh, piece about trauma-informed care. What the thing that the piece we referred to in each section. And initially, I'm like, interesting that that's who would have one of the most comprehensive sources on this. But then when you think about it, it's actually not that interesting. It makes total sense. Um, oh my goodness, I really appreciated the template for APA for. Well, I appreciated the template for the PowerPoint final project greatly, but something that I will be using for the rest of my college career is uh, the template that looks like an APA style paper, but it's actually how to write an APA style paper. I will be using that. That is saved in my files, starred, favorited. Very, very appreciative of that. Uh, Lastly, I want to say thank you. I really enjoyed the course, and it was really interesting to see how other institutions operate. Uh, I don't actually know if GMU is public or private, but coming from the district's only public higher education system, things are done in a specific way, uh, you know, and so to see how things are done at a different institution is fascinating. Um, I would definitely be taking some things away from that. Honestly, to be quite, UC is an HBCU, and it's public, and it's right in the city, and so it operates in a way that is shaped by that. Whereas GMU is not necessarily in a city. I think it is public, but it operates more in my head as like a private institution, and it's a PWI. So, and there's just so many more students. UDC has such a small population. Anyway, I digress. I really appreciate this course. I learned a lot about myself, about how other institutions work, and a lot about trauma informed care. Thank you so much, Dr. Hand. I really appreciate it.